Every time I start to go talking about Heroes of Olympus and some of the things that I have issues with, I feel like a parent who says, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And that's happening again because there's one character in Heroes of Olympus, mainly there's a lot of different characters, but there's one character in particular that I've always been disappointed in how they were presented when they had so much potential to be an interesting and fascinating character. And that is Piper McLean. So this is why Piper deserved better. Now, there are three things in particular about Piper's character that I want to discuss in this video. That is relationships, powers, and story. And these are the things that I think are what let her character down in the end. Now, to start first with relationships, this is one where I feel like there was so much potential with her character with this relationship, or at least her connection to relationships, not just romantic, because obviously we have the whole Jason Grace situation, but also a familial relationship, because we see in the first book that she is introduced in, The Lost Hero, that she has a deep connection to her father. It's a fractured relationship, one with problems where there's a disconnect between them, but it's clearly something that's important to her because she's willing to betray people to save her father's life. But that is a relationship that, after the first book, and even a little bit beyond, even when we get to Trials of Apollo, that doesn't end up being one of the strongest and main relationships that is explored with her. I think that's the disappointing part, because with Jason, even after she finds out that this boy that she believed she was in love with and believed she was in a relationship with is someone she doesn't actually know, she's still willing to work with him. Yes, and admittedly there is the sense that she's still thinking of them in a romantic sense, but what I like at the end of The Lost Hero is, well, not like, there are aspects about it that I'm not a fan of, but there is no sense of expectation throughout the story that they will end up back together as a couple. Editing Fran, because I worded that really badly. So my meaning was that in the text there doesn't seem to be given this intention or expectation that the only reason why Piper is involved with the quest, the only reason why she's helping, the only reason why she's involved in the story is purely because she's intended to get back to Jason in a romantic sense. It's clear that she's not there for selfish reasons, she's there also to help because she is a good person. That's what I was meaning. It's not just for selfish romantic interest reasons. Hopefully that makes sense. Or at least that's not the intention that's given to me until the very end, where she threatens Drew Tanaka about Jason being hers, which people aren't property. And then the fact that, obviously, when we go into Mark of Athena, they've become a couple again, off screen. And that's where the issue lies, is that her relationships with people aren't developed. She has the potential for someone to be the connective thread between all of the characters of the seven, because these are people who don't know each other. But with her charming personality, and I don't mean that in the terms of charm speak, but also kind of, she is a person who I feel could have brought people together, because she's someone who is, she's just a good person to be around. She's someone who can seemingly get along with most people. But her only connection in the story is her romantic relationship with Jason. We forget about the father, forget about her friendship that is actually meant to be real with Leo. There's no friendship there, really. A bit of a friendship develops with Annabeth, but she seemingly has no connections to any other character besides Jason. And that is just the flaw in the writing. You don't tie one character down to one person because you limit their potential. The only thing that Piper ends up being is someone who's obsessed with Jason. And the thing is, that could have been an interesting point due to the fact that she is an incredibly powerful person, and that leads into point 2 on her powers. Piper is insanely powerful. Her connection to Jason and her love for her father allows her to go above and beyond with her powers. But the thing that I feel so many people forget is that she literally brought Jason back from death twice. First in The Lost Hero at the end, when he looks upon the godly image of Hera because he's an idiot, and literally basically dies, and she brings him back from death with her charm speak. And I know also the doors of death situation, but the additional part of, like, he could have carried on going through him and he didn't have to come back through. She calls him back through the doors of death. Then again, in Blood of Olympus, when he's stabbed with a weapon that is going to reap his soul from his body, she continues to speak with him and stay at his bedside, and she helps return him back to life. She brings an inanimate object to life. She makes Festus the dragon sentient. The level of her power is incredible, but due to the fact that her relationships are solely focused on Jason, her power becomes limited to only being used when protecting Jason, in a sense, or at least protecting a few other people. We never actually see her use the extent of her powers outside of protecting others. She doesn't have a chance to shine for herself, which I think is disappointing, because the main thing that comes about with her powers is that she doesn't think she's powerful. It becomes her personality trait of seeing herself as an Aphrodite child being useless. Whereas the lost hero, she saved everyone more than once. She is consistently saving people, but those feats are not recognised, even though her powerful skills are the reasons why a lot of people are still alive or still successfully going on this quest. It's just disappointing that her abilities and her personality and her character is put on the back seat to be a supporting role for other characters. And that's where we go into the third point for story. Because I don't know what Piper's story is. I don't actually know what her arc is. I don't know or understand how she changed as a person. All characters have to have an arc of a sort. She doesn't have one, not until the Burning Maze, but even then it's kind of limiting. We don't really know much about it, and then it's ruined really by the end of the Trials of Apollo series. Piper's story is being a love interest to Jason, and that's not a story. That's making her a side character when she's meant to be a main character. She has incredible powers. She has the chance to have a relationship with all the characters and be the connective thread between the Greek and Roman camps and demigods with the Seven, but she's not given that opportunity. She is only connected to Jason, not even someone who is meant to be her friend like Leo. She is limited with her own story to the point that she ends up not having one. The fact that I don't know what her story is, other than someone who has little confidence in herself and sees herself as limited because she's a child of Aphrodite, and that's the main thing I know about her, even though she's a hero on multiple occasions, is incredibly disappointing and is an insane letdown for the possibilities of a powerful child of Aphrodite who have been seen with their children seen as useless throughout, and yet she becomes basically the stereotype of the childs of Aphrodite, because her story is all about a romantic relationship and the support that she provides her love interest. And it's why I'm disappointed with Piper's character, because there was the potential for her to be powerful. There was the potential for her to be this connective thread. There was the potential for her to have an incredible arc of going from someone who sees herself as somewhat worthless, it seems at the start, to recognising her own power within herself and her power to help others. And yet we get none of this. She's turned into a side character in her own stories. And that's just disappointing. But what do you guys think? Do you find that Piper's character was just, in a sense, a letdown through Rick's writing? Or do you think she was just a useless character just in general? Because I've heard that discussion as well. I feel she had the potential, but I know other people don't. So let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on Piper as a character and her potential as a character. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Piper. As always, thank you all for joining me for this video. I truly appreciate it. In the description box down below, you'll find the links to all of my social media, my merchandise store and my Patreon. Because again, I'm unemployed and I need support. So check me out on Patreon if you can, but can't support me financially, be sure to hit the subscribe button, drop a thumbs up, share with your friends, drop a comment as well for the algorithm's sake, because I would really appreciate that. And yeah, again, thank you so much, and I will see you all next time.